want to talk about how to harvest your lettuce. You can see it's getting really warm here, and some of them are bolting. We're not going to be able to eat all this, so we're donating it to whoever walks by the house. So if you happen to be a lucky person to do that, we'll give you some lettuce. But I want to talk about if you're going to do it just for a salad for dinner, or if you're going to harvest the whole head. And so what we've been doing, it's very simple. I use these. We'll put the name of them in a link below. They're amazing for this. They're curved and they do a great job. But what I do is I just find the bottom leaves and I just cut them so that I'm using for what's for dinner, and it's still attached. So the whole head is attached. And you just take what you need. This way I can do a mixed salad for a meal, and I go through and just grab them. And you're gonna harvest them that way, whether it's a loose leaf like these. The merlot lettuce doesn't quite form a head. It's a little more loose, where these, like the Gustav salad, is a big head of lettuce. So that's one way to harvest, okay? And lettuce will store for up to about anywhere between 7 to 10 days in the refrigerator. If you just clean it really good, spin it so it's dry, or lay it out on a paper towel and dab it dry, and then put it inside a baggie with a dry paper towel, it will last for quite a while. Suck all the air out of it and it will stay in your fridge for a while to harvest. Okay. I just take it and I go right down to the base of the lettuce head and snip it. And you have your whole head. You'll see in the ground that this stays in. You want to keep this in because these over here I trimmed off, but you can see that they're starting to grow back. So I've cut all of the head off and they're coming back. There's some little ones right here as well that they were all trimmed down, and then they'll keep growing. That's our lettuce story. Let me take you over to the Bok Choy because that's a different story. Okay, so you can see here on that Bok Choy, this is bolting already. When Bok Choy bolts, the same as lettuce, it will get bitter flavor. So these are probably gonna go to the chickens. This one's bolting, this one has. The little ones back here are already flowering. I may leave one and let it go to seed so that I can collect seeds and use them for next year, right? Because we wanna continue this. See this little, that's gonna go into those flowers on top. So I'm going to cut this and I'm going to try to save these. What I'm going to do with the Bok Choy, well, I'll take you to the kitchen and show you. We're ready to process the Bok Choy that we've brought in from the garden, and there's a lot, as you can see. And I'm going to do two methods. One is how to store it in your refrigerator for a couple of weeks to keep it fresh, and the other one is the freezing method. The first one we'll do for the refrigerator, and we're not going to clean it. We're just going to shake it. If I need to get some of this dirt off, I'm going to just kind of wet a paper towel, and we're going to try to just kind of clean it a little bit. The less water you add to it, the better for storing, because it's the water that makes it go mushy after a while. So we're just going to shake it, and it doesn't matter if you get it all clean or not, because you're going to clean it when you start to use it for a meal, okay? So this one we're going to take and we're going to get some foil. Big enough to wrap this in. Okay, and then I'm going to put that into a zippy bag. And I'll label it with today's date, what it is, and then we'll just put this in our refrigerator and keep it for a couple of weeks until we're ready to make something with it. And Bok Choy is great for all kinds of stuff. There's Bok Choy soup, Bok Choy stir fry. We've used it in a meal that we use for our family called Hot Pot. The kids like the Bok Choy in that, but this will keep it so it's still crisp. And so we're excited to have one big one in there. The rest of these we're going to prepare to go into the freezer. So same thing, we're just going to shake them. We're not going to clean these either. But I am going to break these apart and cut them up. So I'm just going to bring it over here and cut off the end here so that it will fall apart. And we're just going to pull the leaves off. Again, the trick to this is by not cleaning it, we're not adding more water to it. Now, this won't stay as crisp as it is now, being frozen, but it won't be soggy either. It'll be doable to put in soups or stir fry or whatever you're going to use it for, and still have a little bit of a crisp to it. Okay. So it might seem a little weird not cleaning it, but we don't want to add any water to it. You will clean it again before you, and I'll make a note of that on my bag because I'll probably forget. So I'll make a note to wash before use on the bag. I'm just going to wipe it off, get some of that dirt off of there, and then I'm just going to cut them, and probably just in quarters because it always shrinks when you cook it. And speaking of shrinking, when you freeze things, the moisture expands the fibers in the vegetable, and that's what causes it to go mushy. So that's why I say by not cleaning it, we're not adding more moisture to it. We're trying to keep it as best as we can so that it's a little crispier when we do take it out of the freezer and start to use it. I usually I don't measure, I just know that when I do stir fry, things are going to shrink down a little bit, and so I'm just going to put in what I think that Eric and I will eat in a meal, and put it into one bag. Seal it up. I'm going to try to get all the air out of it. So I try to just, some people use a straw. We don't have straws, so I'm just going to kind of flatten it the best I can and get the air out of it. And then this will just go into the freezer. Okay, and I'm just going to do that with the rest of the bok choy that we have. The ones that went to seed, I'm going to chop those off and take them out to the chickens as well because they'll be really bitter, and we don't want to eat that. So that's it. Thanks for joining us at the Bountiful Farmhouse. If you like what you see, please subscribe. If you have any questions, leave those for us in the comments. We will always comment back to you, and tell your friends about it.